0.
What's up to our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving geek nation? You're currently tuning into the CultPop Podcast Part 2, A Child of Scar-Giving Fire, parentheses, director's cut, parentheses, episode 73, a show where we talk about movies and comics and TV shows and Walton Goggins' teeth again, because we'll never not be talking about Walton Goggins' teeth and all the other nerdy things that scratch your nerdy itches. Well, we're coming to you live from... Wait for it.
You gotta say it and then...
Young Junk.
Young Junk.
No, Brian.
Young Junk.
Young Junk.
Oh, Young Junk.
Wait, what's is the emphasis on the
Young or the Junk?
Yeah. What are we,
Young Junk.
Which one do you already
Is it
assume?
an exclamation point or a question mark? Young Junk?
Young Junk.
I'll switch it up.
HQ, a bomb-ass
I'm Ron
podcast production
Burgundy.
space in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
I believe it means whale's vagina.
I'm your balletic and blood-sucking host, JD of JD's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA 19127. A rad-ass comic shop that
What do I do
caters
with
to
my hands
rad-ass
moment?
folks like yourself. What else? Oh, hey, with me tonight is Brian
Hi.
and Noel
Hi.
and Alice.
Hi.
Also in the booth is our trusty producer, Dylan. Dylan the Great. Remember, if anything goes
Cheeseburger.
wrong, Dylan did it.
Who gave him that nickname?
This is
Dylan the Great.
this is your take tonight. It's just like, just anything I juggle.
Please feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the little bell notification, just like a buttida. Also, we like a little back and forth, a little give and take.
Right. Wet our whistle. Our beaks too. And then the whistle after
a little
that.
For tat.
Yeah.
Quid pro
Quo.
quo.
Yeah.
So email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com, just like this next person did, because we got letters.
We got letters.
Oh, we got lots and lots
of letters.
Hello,
Letters.
Cult Pop gang. This question is for Alice.
Oh my God, that's me.
The smile.
I'm so excited I got a letter.
Since I hear they are the resident Percy Jackson aficionado, my 8-year-old daughter is into all things Percy Jacks right now. We have seen the 2 movies, watched the first season of the new series on Disney Plus, and are currently reading Sea of Monster with her.
It's a cool title.
The
Question.
second book.
Sea of Monsters.
It's got to be a plural,
It is,
right?
it's plural.
Or like Seas of Monster. Question.
Seize the
One
monster.
sea, lots of monsters.
Besides all the things listed above, do you have any other recommendations of books, comic books, graphic novels, or any other mediums that are related to Percy Jackson? She is also very much into the Medusa character, so recommendations on that front are welcome as well. Best, Dane P. Zadowski, M.E.D.
Masters of Education.
Zanowski.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Alice, you're up. Go.
Kosta said, look who's got a letter. I am so excited that you wrote about Percy Jackson. I am currently reading, it's another Rick Riordan. I just learned that I was saying his name wrong.
Oh, it's not Riordan.
It's not Riordan, it's Riordan.
Thank you.
I believe. I could be saying it wrong
No,
again.
it's not.
Yeah, you thought you were right before.
Maybe.
You
That's
thought you were right last
pretentious.
time.
Maybe.
Look where
No,
we
it's
are.
not.
So I'm reading
always
the
right.
series after Percy Jackson called the Heroes of Olympus series, and the first one is Lost Hero, and it doesn't primarily focus on Percy. There's other characters in the world and other mythologies, but like Percy and the rest of the gang still make appearances, so it's a really fun read. I'm halfway through it, but from my sister who's read all the books, she says it's even better than Percy Jackson. So looking forward to that. As for graphic novels, I don't read a lot of like graphic novels that would be 8-year-old friendly. I don't know if you'd have any.
That's a hardcore that she reads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all hustler. So,
I just walk into your shop and I'm like, give it to me.
What's what's out of reach of children? Give it to me.
But wait, for other
but also I'm short, so hand it to me.
Yeah.
for other books, not graphic novel related, it's not mythology, but I believe my sister was also into this when she was reading Percy Jackson, and I know my mom, who was a elementary school teacher, recommended this to her students. Spiderwick Chronicles is supposed to be a very fun book.
Heard of it?
Oh, I've heard.
And my mother also loves and always recommends to her students a book called The Sisters Grimm, and it's like modern takes on fairy tales and other like Grimm's fairy tales.
Dylan
So,
just made a face on
yeah,
that one.
Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Dylan
heard a
always
little
likes my
noise
fun
from him, too.
recommendations.
I have a question that's related but not related whatsoever.
Yeah.
Does the fan base for Percy Jackson and the Olympians have a moniker or like, you know, Potterheads?
Like the
or
Jacksonians?
yeah, the Jacksonians.
The Perseids?
Ooh.
The
Ooh, that would be good. Like
Olympiads.
Well,
Perseids is what
the
they
place
call
where
Percy heads?
Yeah.
Percy heads.
the place where all the demigods go is Camp Half-Blood, so you'll see a lot of people wearing Camp Half-Blood like camp t-shirts.
They're the Half-Bloods.
Yeah.
They're They're in a feud with the half Crips.
Oh no. Bravo,
That one was
I
good.
guess.
Thank you.
That one was good.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different ways you could go with the
yeah.
Oh
gang
my
blood
There are a
thing.
couple
Yeah.
of graphic
Yeah.
novels, but from my understanding, the graphic novels are just retellings of the stories you've probably already read. I don't think that they are
Anything like Medusa related that would be kid friendly.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going
I'm
through a
gonna
lot
look
of
into
stuff
it.
in my
I want to
mind.
read it too now. If there
There's
is.
So to answer your question, Dane, like immediately there's the new book by Riordan, but we'll get back to you if there's any like graphic novels or comics that are in that line. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh, he's actually in the chat saying, mind blown. Thank you, Alice. My daughter is going to Camp Half-Blood summer camp also. Wait,
Oh, be
there's a
careful.
Camp Half-Blood
I'm
summer
so
camp?
excited.
Is your daughter?
What's the other half of
So
your
was-
daughter?
half
What is she?
Olympian?
Yeah. What sort of deity
Wait,
is she?
are you a god?
Oh yeah, that's true. That was very rude of me to assume that you
Someone
were the
asked
human
if
in
you're
that.
a god. You say yes.
Yes.
Aren't we all?
That's pretty
Wait,
cool.
now I want to know what cabin would she be in? Because there's different cabins based on like what.
Dane, if you could type in what
Lord.
cabin she'd be
Yeah.
in, while we
Yeah,
continue
let me
on.
know.
Is this like,
what-
in Harry Potter where everybody is like, I would be in Gryffindor.
Yeah,
Not
social
really.
strata like in
no,
Harry Potter.
I've heard like a lot
Like
of
a caste system?
variety.
Yeah, actually, as I said that, I was like, I can think of a bunch of people that would probably
Yeah.
be. And I'd probably go Ravenclaw myself.
I'm
Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm Hufflepuff.
Okay. That's cool.
I get
I
a
took the
50-50
test.
split on quizzes, Hufflepuff, Gryffindor, but I'm Hufflepuff. I know it.
I'd rather be a Hufflepuff.
And the hat sends you where you feel you should go.
I want to be
right.
Hufflepuff.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, smart snacks.
Smart snack.
They're right by the
Smart
kitchen.
snacks.
Yeah.
Plants, animals.
I think I'd be in the Hades cabin, just for anybody wondering.
That's cool.
I was
He gets a
wondering, so
bad
thank
rap.
you.
You know, people are like, oh, he's over all the bad
just got
stuff.
a
But the
job.
good,
Yeah.
the
He's got a
good
job,
afterlife
he's
is
good
there
at it.
too.
She would be with
know?
Annabeth for sure. Oh, I love that. I think my sister would be in that cabin too. Athena. That's the Athena cabin.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you guys, there's a book, and this is going to take a little work from our listener audience or viewers, because I don't know the title, but the author, I believe, is Marion Zimmer Bradley, and there's a couple about
I'll look it up.
Arthurian legend and Atlantis stuff. And if I remember correctly, I read these like 20 years ago. They're about people reborn.
The Myth of Avalon.
You know, those people.
Oh.
No, it is not The Myth of Avalon by Marion
Sword
Zimmer
and
Bradley.
Sorceress.
No, it's not Marion
He's
Zimmer
gonna
Bradley.
read
I never
her.
read that book.
Who's gonna read her?
You know what?
Yeah.
Let's call an audible. We're going to go through the entire bibliography of Marion Zimmer Bradley for the next 2 hours. If you guys want
Somebody
to join us, that'd
who
be totally fine.
is
So let's
not
just scroll
somebody-
down.
She was
The
born
entire
in
bibliography.
1930. She lived on a farm in Albany, New York.
Probably not somebody we want to
She
talk
allegedly
about.
had
okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
But the authors that I'm thinking of, now that I remember, there's actually two of them, and they wrote something about Atlantis and something about the Arthurian stuff coming back. And if I can figure it out, The Forever King was the title of one of them. I'm almost
Okay.
positive. And
This is quality television.
We
hey,
are
if we
YouTube.
get to this,
we are just
we figure it
we're
out.
throwing darts.
I
at
also I
ideas.
have another
Forever
question
King.
for Dane. I never saw the second movie. I never saw the Sea of Monsters movie. Is it worth watching? I like Nathan Fillion. I know he's in it.
Ooh.
Yeah,
love
but like
Nathan.
I didn't love the first movie, but I would consider rewatching it. I loved the series.
Oh, Robert Monroe Jr. says, "What's up, Cult Poppers? I live outside of Albany, New York."
Nice.
Ah.
I know the area.
Apparently, you don't want to look up this woman we were just talking about, though. Let's leave her alone.
Yeah. But the book that I was thinking of is called
Forever King.
The Forever King by Molly Cochran and a different person also. Stephen something. But that'll be enough for you to find it.
Dane,
Warren
when your-
Murphy.
When
Warren
your
Murphy.
When
So
your
close.
daughter's older, just read
called him
Once in
Warren.
Future.
Oh
Once
my
in
gosh,
Future.
Also
yeah.
awesome.
Costa
Yeah.
loves that. I
It's
need
a good
to see
one.
that. That's on my
Very
list.
good.
Yeah. Anywhomst, that was our email section, although we
We do have another email letter. Yeah.
We're going to move on to our next segment, which I lovingly call What Have You Been Up To This Week, Huh? Wherein I ask our co-hosts, what have you been up to this week? And then I add a very annoying huh at the end. Watch, just like this. Hey, Noel.
I didn't know I was required to actually respond.
What have you been up to this week? Huh?
I have been up
That
to.
wasn't
I've
me.
been watching a lot of horror movies the last week.
me
yeah,
too.
My wife's been out of town, so I get to watch whatever I want.
He's a big boy.
I'm a big boy.
Big
I
boy
get
now.
I get to order what I want. I get to watch what I want, and it's stuff that we don't watch together. So it's great. But I remember on Twitter, a conversation on film Twitter a couple months ago about this movie that came out in theaters last year that I completely skipped because I thought it looked stupid. But apparently it's fantastic. So I remembered that recommendation and I looked it up. and it's on Netflix. It's called The Pope's Exorcist, starring Russell Crowe, directed by Julius Avery. This is one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Really?
That's not
No, it's not
true.
true.
Wow.
This is one of the most fun movies I've seen in a while.
There
I
you go.
fully
All right.
believed you for a minute. I was like,
No.
I thought it was possible.
It's Russell Crowe as an Italian priest who is the official Vatican's exorcist.
So that's the breakdown of the title. Is
He's
he
literally the
he's
Pope's
the Pope's,
exorcist.
like he works for the Pope.
There is-
He's not like
there is-
exercising.
There
the
is
Pope.
one exorcist that is designated to
Or
the
is he?
Diocese of Rome, and that is him. He is the Pope's official exorcist.
Oh.
And it's based on the
Okay.
actual files of Father Gabriele Amort, chief exorcist of the Vatican.
Anybody can write files.
Yep. It's
true.
I want to read those files.
So this movie, the trailers didn't really do it justice. It's a very silly movie that plays it straight.
Like, but intentionally.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very silly movie that plays it straight. It's the director previously did Overlord,
Which was amazing.
What was that?
it was all right. I don't think it was amazing.
It was
all right.
better than the best movie you've ever seen.
It wasn't
the
better
Pope's
than
Exorcist.
No, it wasn't, because Pope's Exorcist was tight and I knew exactly what it was. Overlord was about 30 minutes too long.
Did you watch it too?
And
did.
had-
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Never saw it.
That's honestly what I thought. I was like, why are you hating on this thing?
Pope's Exorcist
I
is
never
Better than
will.
this piece of shit.
it is a masterclass in escalation, especially in like the horror genre. It starts as a small kind of haunted house type style movie, and it just keeps escalating to, this is also about the
The sins of the
the
church.
sins of the church,
Oh.
and it's also about this. It's also about this, and it goes full tilt Evil Dead by the end of the movie with crazy special effects, and the whole time you're wondering, like, Russell Crowe signed up for this?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is awesome.
Yeah.
It was
All right,
great.
I
It
need
was a
to watch
You saw it
wonderful
too?
movie.
I did. I also watched it.
made him watch it.
It was a lot of fun. I had started watching it 2 months ago, and just kind of fell off and forgot about it. I haven't been able to stay up and watch horror movies as much recently, but this week I did. And yeah, this was exactly what you said. Not the first time, the second time. Not the best movie of all time, but it was the most fun you've had in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got Alexandra Esso in it, who I liked from a movie,
Starry
a
Eyes.
really under the radar horror film called Starry Eyes, which was awesome. And yeah, this really does just sort of like escalate until ridiculousness, where I'm just like laughing at how stupid it is, but it's
goes in weird places
Yeah.
too, like the Inquisition and fucking like all kinds of crazy stuff. And also, it takes place in 1987, so the soundtrack is all awesome, like
Yeah.
Faith No More songs.
Oh my gosh.
and also he
I've-
rides around on a little red and white Vespa.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
so like
Yeah.
scene transitions are him on a Vespa to like dope ass 80s songs.
Yeah.
This is
In
already
full-
the greatest movie
in
I've ever
full
seen,
garb.
and I haven't seen it yet.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Does he get the little like not just the black and white stuff, but the thing that goes around his neck, the
I mean,
scarf, or
when
whatever
he
they
needs
call
the
it?
armor
Scarf.
of God,
The scarf.
when he
The God scarf.
Shawl.
when he
It's called the God
requires
scarf.
the armor of God, it's all in the movie. It's so dumb fun.
Does the armor of God look like armor?
Like that? No,
It's like that's the
it's prayers and
I don't know what they call
blessed
it.
things, man.
The God scarf.
God scarf.
The purple.
Yeah. The purple.
It is
Purple raiment. The raiment.
It
Never
goes
would've.
hard. It's really fun. I had a hell of a fun time. This is like a really good horror on Netflix.
You will
Yeah.
spend the entire time going, Russell Crowe, really?
And he crushes it.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't phone it in, man. He's
yeah.
there having a good time.
He does whatever
Wonderful
he wants.
movie.
All right.
JD.
Oh, hey, hi. I'm here.
Or no, you know what? I'd rather ask Brian.
Hey, what's
Yeah,
up?
he's
Yeah.
he's more
Brian.
interesting than me.
Thank you.
How you doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Noel, how are you?
You know what? I've had better days, but today's a good
What
one.
have you been up to this week, huh?
I was talking to Noel, but
That was really rude of you.
It was getting boring.
I'm sorry he
it
interrupted.
was about to get crazy.
Hey.
Yeah.
What's your favorite color?
You asked this one before, and he didn't answer you.
No,
Yeah.
I still want to know.
I'm not sure. I really like the blues and the dark teals and the teals and the
The jewel tones.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, any tone that comes in a jewel. Which is where I keep my tones.
Oh,
Yeah.
not the singer.
What you been up
I
to
thought
this
the
week?
Tones and I.
Now I'm bored.
So anyway, you guys, enough about your silly questions. I want to get
how
to this
you
silly
are?
question. Yeah, they were great questions, and we're still not at it. So anyway, I was watching Silicon Valley.
Oh, there it is.
You never know when it's happening. So JD recommended it. I
did.
think it was off air because we talk after the show is done too. And,
I don't.
Not willingly.
Sparingly.
I leave
Not
immediately.
But
I don't know these guys.
Mostly grimacing.
Yeah.
yeah.
But go on, Silicon Valley.
He was like, Silicon Valley is pretty good. I don't remember why, but he said, you should watch it. I really think you'd like it. And it's a show that for a long time I've been aware of. I really like Thomas Middleditch a lot, even though I've seen him in so few things. I've wanted to watch Middleditch and Schwartz for a long time. And even just like the concept of what that is, I'm like, Thomas Middleditch is cool.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, so I turn it on and
And then the credits happened, and
the quick like
Were you
little
sitting
Silicon
down?
Valley thing. I don't remember, but probably.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what though, we were watching this show. We get I was watching it with Tamara, my fiance, and so we were about 3 episodes in, and she says to me, "When does the girl travel back in time with the songs?" And I said, "That's a different movie that we were thinking about watching." And then I said, "Do you want to watch Silicon Valley?" JD recommended it, and then we are watching this now. It was 3 episodes. She went on
Wait,
faith that there would be.
What
Time travel?
What?
Yeah.
What show or movie is time travel with songs?
I don't remember the name of it. It's a woman finds that by I think listening to particular songs she can go back.
Greatest hits. Yeah. So, okay.
Yes. And it looks really good. And yeah, it's on Hulu.
Oh.
And we are interested in watching it. We haven't watched it yet. And I was like, which woman? There's like 2 women in Silicon Valley in the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, which woman did you think it was? She was like, I thought she would show up from
She'd pop in.
the future, right?
Like 90 minutes
I
of
was
setup.
listening to these songs, and now I'm here, guys.
Yeah.
That'd be so
And they're like,
funny.
that song,
What did
that just came out.
What did you think of Silicon Valley? I don't know if we have to. Is anybody not familiar with Silicon Valley, the television show?
I didn't know too much
on
about it,
HBO.
but the real quick is that there's this guy. He comes up with this very cool app code thing, and he doesn't really know what he has, and
It's a video compression software. Right?
and or in everything, and which is a very cool. You know, when a show like this needs to come up with something that would be really great, it's an interesting art in itself, and this one is good. That is the kind of thing that could take off and be very, very sought after and valuable. So, so they come up with this thing, and he has the option like, do I take $10 million for it or start my own company? And he decided to start his own company. So it's them trying to get this like potentially gold mine of a thing going, which, you know, watching it, you have the feeling like you're watching them build a billions of dollars industry.
Most of the at least most of the first season, actually most of like the first 2 seasons takes place in a incubator, a house that is rented out by just a guy. Literally a guy, and they have these in California all the time, just like tech incubators. They'll let you live there for a nominal fee.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
To just like work, collaborate together to build something. It's like people will rent out their houses.
Oh, that's cool.
To like take a piece of whatever they end up making.
Yeah. That's cool. Do you think I could live there?
I mean, are you worth it?
Let me work it.
I don't have an incubator. I don't know
if
what
I
you're
get the
talking about.
chance.
Yeah.
So Tamara was very into it though, and we have now watched a bunch more, and we really like it. It's so well acted. There's so many people who I did not realize were in this. The guy from Party Down, that other guy, they're all in it.
That other guy.
Also, that lady.
I love that
The lady
other guy.
is in it too, and the third guy. That third guy.
I love the third guy.
Yeah. The taller one.
Yeah.
Oh,
With the hair.
I love him.
He does have the hair.
TJ Miller, Kumail Nanjiani,
Zach
and-
Woods.
Star, Martin Starr,
Martin
Starr.
Zach
Martin
Woods,
Starr.
is in
Right.
it,
Zach
yeah.
Woods. I like Zach Woods.
Dagwood, like from Blondie. So I also had the opportunity to watch some TV and movies that I wanted to over the weekend, and I watched for the first time Deadpool 2.
Oh.
And it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, that's that guy from Silicon Valley. Is Weasel, the bartender
Oh
friend.
my God,
yeah, TJ Miller.
And who's also in Office Christmas Party. I was
yeah.
like, this guy's great.
He's
I'm
not
into this
great.
Guy. As personally, he's not great.
Yeah.
His characters.
I believe
Very
he's.
great.
I believe he's gone. I believe
Is that a fact? I know he's not in Deadpool 3,
Yeah.
but it seemed more like he and Ryan Reynolds had a disagreement. I didn't look into it.
But
Not
anyway,
worth it.
yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You recommend Silicon Valley.
I would highly recommend Silicon Valley. It's so much fun. I love to watch the great thing could be happening. These guys are really good at their stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of deal, you know.
Have you got? You probably. It's probably not till the third episode,
You're
third
talking
season.
about the dick tip ratio.
I was gonna say something about it.
So
It's like the most popular.
It's like the end of season 2.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a while, but
All right, well, don't tell me
it's-
too much.
Well, no, I mean,
No.
that's
all you need.
my favorite.
Hold on.
My favorite aspect of that show is they are very specific types of people.
Yes.
They are analytical problem solvers. So you can't have normal conversations with analytical problem solvers because someone will say something sarcastic and they will approach it literally and or with in the second season a joke is made and then they literally go on a tear on a whiteboard figuring out exactly how that would even
mathematics.
Yeah.
like the mathematics
That
of it all.
sounds cool.
And that is
Yeah.
just like
It's really fun.
I watched it twice in a row.
That is
I
like-
immediately rewound it just to watch
nice.
that scene.
a microcosm of the entire show where it's very
cool.
very on the nose specific direct people in weird circumstances.
You know what?
The comedy
Now that
is
that's come up-
how direct they are.
I want to say that's how I got into the show. I feel like everyone was talking about that
That
joke.
scene.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what's this joke? And then I watched that scene.
You were
and then
into
I
it.
was like, oh. And I went straight
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to the
Yeah.
beginning.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm looking
awesome.
forward to that, and the rest. We just watched the episode where the tall guy, the one with the hair that you mentioned,
Yeah.
he gets a ride home from a driverless car.
Martin Starr, the Satanist.
No, the other tall guy.
Zach Woods.
Zach
Yes,
Woods.
who's great. It's
also
just an
in The
after party
Office.
in the office, and
Yeah.
he just got stuck in the self-driving car and shipped to an island
Oh, right.
of like shipping containers for a while, which was fun. And then they continued that being something that happened to him in the next episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am very much enjoying them doing their thing, and
Yeah,
it's a very pleasant and pleasing show.
Jonathan Destructovich.
That's me.
What have you been up to this week, huh?
I also have been watching some horror films.
Horror.
And mine
It's halfway to
was-
Halloween, right?
Is it?
It is.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
So on top of the Pope's exorcism,
Just about.
I also watched Late Night with the Devil.
Exorcist. The Pope was not exercised.
But you know what? Did you catch what he said?
No.
Because I wanted
Catch it
that
now.
to be the movie.
If
He
the
wanted
Pope,
the Pope lifting dumbbells.
yeah, and
Exercising.
Russell Crowe being like, yeah,
Get it?
yeah.
No, he
Training
was saying,
the Pope.
What if was he exercising the Pope?
what if,
the Pope
what
was
if
taking-
the
Pope?
The Pope's exorcist was an exorcist who had to exorcise the Pope who was...
Right, he was demon.
Well, we're hoping there would be sequels.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't know where it goes.
the Pope's
Anyway,
exercising
late,
now.
Late Night with the... Late Night with the Devil,
Pope's
rated R
gymnast.
horror film that dropped in 2023. And I think the most of the hubbubbery that I got from this movie is because there are a couple of gone to commercial cards that the TV show in this movie uses, and they are created by AI.
I was going to ask about
So
that. Yeah.
I didn't hear much about the movie itself. I've only heard about the faux pas of using AI for your art instead of paying an actual artist. But I do love the main actor in this film, whose name is David
Dashmalian.
Dashmalian.
Awesome.
Thank you, because I would
Awesome
not
guy.
have
I
pronounced
never
that
would
correctly.
have gotten that.
Dashmalkian.
Dashmalkian.
Yeah, CH.
Oh,
I've
cool.
heard other people say it.
And it's directed by
okay.
Cameron and Colin Carnes.
Yeah.
Also
Didn't
written
know
by
there was
those
a CH in
gentlemen.
it at
Yeah,
all.
Dashmalkian.
A live television broadcast in 1977 goes horribly wrong, unleashing evil into the nation's living rooms. So,
But just there.
yeah, just
Okay,
and
good.
The kitchen is
yeah,
good.
Stay in the
not
kitchen.
the foyer is all right.
One person's living room.
So, Noel, you watch this.
Yes.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was wonderful. The structure of the movie is kind of like the whole gag. So like it's you're watching a rediscovered found footage. Yeah, you're
Oh,
watching
I
a
love
rediscovered master tape of this episode of a forgotten TV show that went horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah.
And what's cool about it is the very beginning of the movie is a documentary style introduction to the master tape you're about to watch. So it feels like a documentary in a really, really good way. And yeah, it's really effective. It totally worked. It creeped the fuck out of me at the end. Like the last 15 minutes creeped me out.
Okay.
And I don't get creeped out easy.
It did not creep me out, but I did enjoy it. It was a fun watch. I was in, and I really like the format that you mentioned. It was just you're just watching this broadcast, and then they also give you what's happening after they've gone to commercial. So the cameras are still rolling. You get to see. Although it's a little unrealistic at times, because why would anyone be following them around? And then at the very end, there's like a crane shot.
That's for
For us.
yeah.
just for us,
Well, I
not
mean,
for
the
what happens.
perspective of the movie changes at
Yeah.
that point
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
So I thought this was really fun. It doesn't really smash the genre mold at all, but it is a fun found footage film.
Nice.
Yeah.
Smash the. You mean the found footage genre?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing to smash in it. It's a very straightforward genre.
If you found actual found footage and turned it into a movie, that would smash the genre.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That
It
would
would
be.
probably be really boring.
Could be. That's why people haven't done that.
It's
There's
cinema
plenty of found
verite,
footage.
everyone.
It's just someone's like TikTok
Yeah.
drafts.
I'm gonna
It's just someone like flossing.
I'm gonna go to Cannes with someone's old home videos, practicing flossing. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
That would be interesting, though, if you could
my TikTok.
cut it together. Producing
No
your own
found-
Frame it up, Costa. Frame it up. Sorry. Anyway, so I loved the movie. I thought it was wonderful. It's on Shudder.
now.
Yeah,
now.
so
Go watch it.
So Silicon
I
Valley was
haven't
on Max. Late Night with the Devil's on Shudder.
Right.
Pope's Exorcist is on Netflix. They're all streaming available right now. But that leads us to what?
Oh.
That leads us to Alice.
What have you
Me?
been? What
What
are
have you been up
What are
to?
you doing?
I
Huh?
haven't been up to a ton, but I did watch a trailer today that I wanted to talk about.
Cool. What's it for?
Bambi: The Reckoning.
Nice.
It's by the makers of Blood and Honey, Winnie the Pooh.
I was just gonna ask if anybody's seen that one because I haven't.
I have not seen it.
I have not seen
You
it.
haven't seen it?
I am aware of
have.
it, but I've
Nice.
never seen the trailer.
I am too.
It's like you would have seen that.
It does,
Yeah.
but
I heard the first one was terrible.
I'm definitely
There's
gonna see
two?
Bambi: The Reckoning. It's only a minute long, the trailer, but
Oh,
it's
that's not too much of a commitment.
no, yeah, that's why I had time to do it this week. I had a very busy week, but I had time for that. Spoiler alert for the trailer, but there's like two hunters in the woods, and it's like all ominous, and they're doing target practice. And the one guy's like, "Have you ever shot a deer?" It's like, "Yeah, once." And then it cuts to a car zooming down the street, and a giant deer coming and flipping the car, and that's the end of the trailer.
Wait, so
Like with its horns?
So
Antlers,
we're to
they like
believe
call them?
this is a revenge film
Yes,
Yeah.
because that was Bambi's mom.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right. The
Yeah.
one deer that this guy shot.
So this comes
But-
out. This comes out October 31st of this year. It is part of the Twisted Childhood universe, which is public domain horror movies, which includes Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, Pinocchio Unstrung, Bambi the Reckoning, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, and Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. And they have, I believe, they have announced a big universe movie.
The Pooniverse.
The Pooniverse. Yeah.
Universe. There
I'm
you go,
not
name.
kidding.
It's
It's
good.
called
Yeah.
Pooniverse Monsters
Monsters
Assemble.
So something about me is I mean, this actually kind of looked good, but even if Blood and Honey is bad, I still want to see it because I do love bad horror movies also.
Oh,
in
absolutely.
addition to good
Yeah.
horror movies. So I want to get involved in the
The
Pooniverse.
I
I didn't know
for
it was
the
a whole
Pooniverse
thing.
has Winnie the Pooh
Look how scary
riding
Pinocchio is.
riding
Is
the
that
the
Riding Bambi.
Who's that guy up on the left in the top hat?
I was just going to ask who that guy
I don't know.
No. Also, is Bambi, that was a Disney original, right? Or was
No.
that a story? That was a story before?
Yeah.
Okay.
No idea.
Yeah. That's the only of all of Disney's things where you're like, oh yeah, that one definitely was.
Yeah, it's Bambi the Reckoning comes out this
Bambi the
October.
Ra- What
I'm gonna
other
be
what other
seeing it.
ones could they do? Right? Like what other public?
I didn't
domain
even know they did
childhood-
Peter
Yeah.
Pan
I mean,
and Pinocchio.
Me either.
I'm-
Until right now.
I'm sure there'll be like a post-credit scene of Steamboat Willie.
What else we got?
Little Red Riding Hood.
No, they actually specifically said, I don't know who it was, the writer, director, whatever, said, we are not doing that, and we recommend that none of the rest of you get the idea to do that either, because Winnie the Pooh is one thing. Disney will come after you.
There's already like a Steamboat Willie horror movie announced.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, right. I mean, somebody else maybe announced one, but I think the Blood and Honey guy was like, we're
We don't
staying
want
away
that
from
kind
that.
of
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't want
Yeah.
that kind of. We don't want that heat.
We cannot
You know, that
afford.
yeah.
We cannot afford to take on Disney.
Yeah, we have another letter.
We should do our other letter before
is
we
it?
get into our main
Yeah,
review.
yeah.
This one is
about?
from Chris St. Saucy Goodnight. He says, you're going to read it.
Yeah, but I didn't know which part not to say. Okay, since I don't know if you guys are doing a movie tonight or what movie you're doing, I'm going to guess it's either Late Night with the Devil, gotcha, or Abigail, which hit theaters last weekend. Both are solid 4-star movies.
Bravo.
Thank you, Chris. Late Night with the Devil was really good found footage horror movie, best one I've seen since the OG Cloverfield, and I'm really glad I got to see it in theaters.
Oh, nice.
My only real problem with it is I wish we could have lived in the initial possession scene a little longer. Oh, it's fair. I mean, yeah, all right. I don't know why people are having a problem with the ending. You can't be fine with the premise and then say that what happens at the ending is too much too far.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't know people were having a problem with the ending.
I haven't heard anybody talking about this movie at all, except for the AI thing.
Yeah.
That's all I heard about it too.
Yeah.
As
Which
for
sucks.
Abigail, when it comes to horror, I am not a huge fan of gore. Fluids of any kind.
Squick me
Squick me
out.
out.
Quick. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
squick me
just
out.
keep wanting to hose them down. Other than that, loved it. Great cast, great premise that despite you think from the trailer isn't completely spoiled. It's Clue with vampires, what's not to love. Well, I guess the timeline of the movie could have been better. It's dark, it's light, it's dark again with no real sense of time passing. I didn't have a problem with that personally, but that's fair. I'm going to skip this part because it's a little bit of a spoiler. But he does throw something out at the end there. While I don't think the movie as a whole is as good as the Brendan Fraser Mummy, I think the lead heroine could lead a franchise where she takes on the rest of the classic monsters.
Oh.
Melissa
Just
Barrera
don't
would be
do
great.
what the Mummy did and double down on the same monster over and over again.
Right on.
Nice.
Excellent letter, Chris. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Now,
Which leads us to...
we're going to talk about Abigail.
Here it comes.
All right, our main review, Abigail. So we're going to talk about the film, no spoilers, and then we're going to let you know when it's spoiler time, so just be aware.
We are going to still talk about Rebel Moon after this. So
Yeah.
Yes.
around.
We do have a lot to say about that as
We
well.
have a lot to say about Rebel Moon.
Yes.
Abigail, directed by Matt Bettinelli, Open, and Tyler Gillett, starring Melissa Barrera, Dan Stevens. Those eyes.
He's so great.
Those
Dan
eyes.
Stevens is awesome.
Stay on
Legion.
target. Stay on target.
Catherine Newton and Alicia Ware, after a group of criminals kidnap the ballerina daughter of a powerful underworld figure, they retreat to an isolated mansion, unaware that they are locked inside with no normal little girl. All right, so
a weird way to phrase it.
that's a
They're
strange
like,
sentence.
they look around and there's no normal little girls here.
Hey, what? I expected a room full of normal little
Well,
girls.
I brought my tea set.
So,
Where's your little girls?
Yeah.
I only want them normal.
These balloons aren't going to stay up forever.
we should go around and we'll give our first impressions of Abigail.
Boys like balloons too.
But
Doesn't mean girls don't like them.
Whatever, man.
I hate them. Sorry.
Didn't say all girls like balloons.
You kind of did. Don't put me in a box.
You kind of
Get in that box with the balloon.
you're gonna be canceled with TJ Miller.
Oh.
Balloon
So
cancer.
we're gonna go through and give our quick thoughts.
I saw the trailer, you guys,
There we
and
go.
I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, is this a horror comedy or is it like a horror comedy? And how much is
It's a
funny?
horror comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that doesn't clear it up at all, but we'll get into it.
I
I
don't
didn't see this movie.
I don't think you'd like it.
Yeah.
No, I did. Yeah, cool.
Who
Well, I
first?
pointed to you.
Me? What do you want? My opinion?
Your initial reaction
Okay.
to the
On
movie,
this movie.
without spoilers. Did you like it?
Thumbs up.
How
Yeah,
many?
I enjoyed it. I think it was wonderful. This is the writer-director team, Radio Silence, who did Ready or Not, the two Scream movies,
duh.
the two most recent Scream movies, and
tracks.
other things I completely forgot about. But either way, great. And they nailed it again. This was really fun. I think the movie drags in the middle, but the third act is so fun and so big that it's pretty much forgiven in the time span. Yeah, but yeah, it's wonderful.
Okay, Alice.
I'm gonna give it 2 thumbs up.
Oh shit.
2 thumbs up.
You doubled your thumb.
How many did you
Thumbs
do?
up.
No,
I just said thumbs up.
But then you only
That's at
showed
least
us a
2.
thumb.
I needed something to do with my hands, so
you
What?
did it.
I guess one
Isn't
and a
that
half.
always the question? Like, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
Fractional stuff.
Yeah.
So
So 2 thumbs up. Go on.
2 thumbs up.
1.42 thumbs.
1.42.
I thought it was so much fun. I love. This is gonna sound weird. I love when like there's like a creepy child in a horror movie.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I love Pet Cemetery.
It's the opposite of Sam.
Did you see M3 again?
What's up?
Did you see
M3 again?
Mithrigan?
Yes, yeah.
He's on it?
I got some vibes of Mithrigan in this.
To be
with
fair,
You guys say
dancing.
M3
That's a
again.
doll.
I say
Must be
M3.
regional dialect.
That's not a little
no,
girl.
it's because I was a fan of this podcast before I joined this podcast, and I heard you guys call it Mithrigan so much that now I call it Mithrigan.
As you should.
It's a little girl doll.
Yeah. She's young. She was just
Or
created.
a doll, little girl. Either way, little girl is part of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Could be a doll.
I mean,
of a
this
teddy bear.
is
It's different.
Well, she's a girl. She's a vampire. But
Yeah.
a
So
girl vampire. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I thought the actress who plays Abigail was Alicia Ware. She
Yeah.
was so
Unbelievable.
good.
Yeah, man.
She was really good at switching from being like terrified oh my God, don't hurt me, little girl, to I'm about to kill you.
But she was just pretending to be terrified.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, maybe she was scared.
I thought she was so good that as we were walking home from the theater, I was like, "Did you ever see what was it's a grown woman playing a little girl?
Oh, Orphan.
Orphan,
Yeah.
Orphan, and the prequel.
I never saw the prequel.
Is a movie
Kid
about a
with
little
parents.
girl that she is played by a grown woman actress
And
who
she's like
just happens
33.
to look like a little girl.
Yeah.
Oh. Does she have that syndrome?
Yes.
I think they
Oh, wow.
digitally de-aged her for the second movie.
Well,
I
I
think
think,
they did
yeah,
the second
just
one, yeah.
but like she's already petite. So I was wondering if Alicia Weir, I don't know who she is. I was like, is that another grown woman?
she was that
actress?
good.
She was that good.
Wow.
She was in the new like Matilda musical. She's like a theater person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was she? She was not Matilda.
I don't know if she was
Okay.
Matilda. I know she was in it. And like so I'm pretty sure she did like the dancing for this movie, which was like actually
She
impressive.
does. She's not
They
just
do,
a
like,
ballerina in
ballet.
name.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
So I didn't realize this was Radio Silence that did it, and the whole time after we left the theater, we were walking home. I was like, this really reminded me of Ready or Not,
Yeah.
and then I felt really stupid when I got home and I realized it was the same director.
One of my all-time favorite.
Well,
Oh, so good. Yeah.
Stupid.
I think that would
Yeah,
make
I
you
felt
feel smart.
So
dumb.
dumb.
You're like, I recognize this thing.
so
Well, I recognize a pattern. but-
I
smart.
think Ready or Not was better, but
Oh,
this
it
was really really
It
good.
was, yeah. But yeah, I think this was a lot of fun. My biggest problem with this movie was the trailer. But the movie itself I thought was fantastic. I did not feel that it was dragging. Like I was in from jump and I really enjoyed it the whole way through. There was a lot of wonderful violence and very silly scenes. They definitely wasn't taking itself too seriously. And seeing Giancarlo Esposito
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
he
great.
was so
get down,
fun.
that was awesome.
He got like danced.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
But like Dan Stevens,
Yes.
who I love, I never knew who Dan Stevens was until I watched The Guest, which is one of my all-time favorite thrillers.
Oh, okay.
It's awesome. And then every time he shows up, I'm just delighted.
Because you did not watch Legion, which was an amazing.
I did watch some Legion.
You did.
And it did not keep me. I got
It was
bored.
amazing.
Yeah.
One of the best,
Okay.
in my opinion. Actually, I do think that seriously.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
he's great.
Yeah,
it's-
Yeah.
I had to double check. It's an hour and 50 minutes. It's almost 2 hours. I just feel like the movie doesn't even really start until. Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 get to know you scenes, and I was just like, let's go.
But I was enjoying the get to know yous. I like the get to know yous. Sometimes we don't need it, but this time I felt like it was
got to know
beneficial.
Yeah. Hearing you guys talk about it and seeing the trailer, I'm like, I really would like to see a movie that's about this, that's like this, that I would like. You know what I mean? Like that's more the tone, like Dracula's Daughter kind of thing.
Well, yeah, I heard they were inspired by Dracula's Daughter, actually. What about this kind of movie don't you like?
Very difficult to pin down, and
Do you
it
not
has
like
to
the
do.
gore?
I do not like the horror,
Oh,
but then
okay.
there is some horror that I'm like, what other people consider horror that does not seem to be designed to scare me, but it deals with those things.
See, this
I
to
think-
me is a bloody action thriller.
Yeah.
I don't
and
think
it
this
could
is a
be that I would
horror
watch
movie.
it and I'd be like, cool.
I actually think he would like. I do think he would like Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah? Oh,
because
really?
the concept of it and the framing of it
Okay.
is like interesting enough, and then it's got like spooky bits.
Okay.
and it's not. So
I haven't seen it, but
spooky bits.
Spooky bits.
I like spooky
the bits.
Yeah.
Spooky bits.
So
Yeah.
like the previous times we've talked about this, it's usually it seems what I've noticed
Yes.
is what you usually have a problem with is human on human
I
violence.
do not like human
You
on
do
human.
not like
Oh.
cruelty. You do not
Yeah.
like human on human
Yeah,
violence.
yeah.
But when it comes to just like Scream, no.
No.
But a spooky ghost movie, maybe depends on the concept.
On Hill
like
House.
Oh, sure.
Great.
he's cool with
yeah.
supernatural. He's cool with aliens. It's usually
Yeah,
just
I'm cool with
cruelty,
them.
humans.
That
not
I
a
do
fan.
not
Neat.
like. And some of it does have to
fair.
do with directorial intent, because there's some like vampire stuff that I'm like, this was trying to be harsh and horror and actually make me feel like there's like a
Unsettled.
grit. Yeah. And that I don't like. And a lot of times that is coupled with the human on human stuff.
Oh yeah.
Or like Renfield. They were kicking guys' heads off.
But it was like
I was like, this is
so
amazing.
That was a
Yeah.
cartoon.
Yes. That movie was a good movie though.
I think it's always like, to me, when we talk about this, especially in regards to you, I think it's always comes down to cruelty. What is the level of cruelty, and is it on screen or intent?
Right. Like, would a person do this in the rules of our world? And in those movies, like, they could, and I don't like the impetus of doing that. I don't want to explore the idea of, like, what does somebody get out of that? Why do they do it? What does it feel like to be in that situation? What does
Yeah.
it feel like to see someone in that? I don't want to think about those things. Whereas, like, a world of magic.
Oh,
I do
okay.
want to think about those things.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might dig this. It's more. It's
cool.
more of an.
And she's a
action
vampire.
Movie. It's
Yeah.
more of a
I like
vampire
vampires.
movie.
Yeah.
It is. It is very gory, but
Okay.
it's like silly.
Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
And
Very
sometimes
silly.
that we watched something not long ago. Oh, Fallout actually. That even there were times where I was like, oh, jeez,
No.
that's rough.
I only watched the first episode of Fallout, and that has more cruelty in it than
Does it?
Yeah.
than this movie does.
All right, I'll watch.
Oh
it.
yeah,
How
the
old
first
is she,
episode
really?
does have a lot. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question. I don't
Is
know
she
how
like
the actress
old
is.
but still because she's a
Oh,
vampire?
oh, yeah.
The character is very
The
old.
character. Okay,
Yeah.
right,
The
right,
character
right.
is
a couple
a
hundred.
great
Yeah,
great
she's centuries
grandmother.
old. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Age. Like, that's how long she's been around.
Is she stuck like that?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So she has her fun
Similar
where
to
she can.
Kirsten Dunst in
Right.
Interview with the Vampire.
And she's
She's
still
also
looking
stuck
for
with
the
a
love
little
of her
girl
father.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Did she find it?
I don't know.
We can talk about that in
Is
spoilers.
Dan
Yeah.
Stevens?
No.
Wait, no, he's not.
He's not the father.
He's not the father.
It's not the
You are
father.
not
Like that
the
dinosaur
father.
show.
Maury.
So let's move into spoilers for Abigail right now. I don't know what else we can really spoil for this.
I almost don't necessarily want to. So, like, this movie did pretty well this weekend, but it could do better. There are a lot of really fun little twists towards the end of the movie that I don't know if we should spoil.
Okay.
Okay.
Personally, If you
Tell
wanna
me
go
about
for it,
them
go
though
for it.
after the show.
Yeah.
No, you should see it. I think
I
you'll
might.
like it.
I could.
Because there's fun little twists and turns and allegiance. So
Twists
you've
and
got
turns.
it's very it's classically structured with a bunch of characters who do not trust each other or should
Okay.
trust each other, and
Well, these people
hilarity
kidnap
ensues.
a
I know,
kid,
like
they're not good people.
they're not
No.
good,
They get their
exactly.
throats ripped out.
So,
Hey.
so some of them act advantageously, some of them don't. Some of
Okay.
them form alliances, some don't. Like there's a lot of really fun just character twists.
Okay.
That is part of the
And
part of the
I
joy
think
of the
that's
movie.
what I like about, you thought it was a little draggy in the middle, too many get to know yous, but like I enjoyed getting to know all of the characters in this because
Yeah.
they all felt like a different person with different personalities and different
Yes.
reactions to things. So I was enjoying just spending time with the characters. I found them all to be charming in one way or another.
I agree
Angus
with-
Cloud's last movie, which is a bummer.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that. But I do think that some of it was redundant. That's
Sure.
all. It was just
Okay.
redundant. That's all.
got it.
I felt that way towards like the middle.
That's
Like
what I'm
I
saying.
like, yeah, okay, yeah, like the middle.
Yeah, like so we
The-
have the inciting incident of the kidnap, and then you find out these people don't really know each other, but they're working together, and then they set the setup, and then there's the one scene of them all getting to know each other, and then there's 3 or 4 scenes of them all getting to know each other back to
Okay.
back before the actual like second act kicks off, and I would have shaved that.
Okay.
Like them at the pool table is
Yeah.
most of what you needed to like really, and then you could reveal the backgrounds and what was real or what wasn't as it's going. But we did them walking around the house, them finding rooms, drinking, looking for food. Like it was a lot of. It wasn't bad. It was just like let's tighten this up and get to like the meat because this movie is very snappy.
Where I did find that to be a problem is when I was talking earlier about the trailer.
Yeah.
This movie tells you, and the poster says, little kids can be monsters, basically. And we see in the trailer that she is a vampire. We see that there are people coming to kidnap her, and then the big twist happens like, oh my God, she's a vampire.
Yeah.
We were talking about it on the way home, and you
Yeah.
had a great idea for what the trailer would be because, right, that's the sticky wicket is the fact that we all knew that it was going to be a vampire and the characters don't know it's a vampire and they spend way too long trying to come up with answers for why things are being so weird when everyone in the audience is going, it's because she's a fucking vampire. We saw it
Yeah.
in
Oh,
the
She's
trailer.
not
man.
just out with it.
No,
ripping
no,
throat?
she's
And then-
pretending to be a little scared girl.
Okay.
That's also one of the problems with that get to know you
Yeah.
part. They're all like investigating stuff, and we're all like,
We know.
Come on,
it's
get to
her,
it, get to
she's
it.
in the
Yeah.
bedroom.
Yeah.
But then the other problem with not having that is that we all went together to go see the little girl vampire movie.
Right. And you
Yeah.
would not have seen
Right.
it.
If it was
might
just
not
a
have
movie
given a
about
shit.
kidnapping, I wouldn't
Right.
have gone.
Yeah.
I would have been like, no.
Another one of
Your
those
idea-
kidnap films.
I'm taken? No.
Your idea for what the
yeah.
trailer could have been.
Yeah, so there's a part, and this is actually in the trailer, where she's all scared and everything, and then she says to Melissa Barrera's character, who goes by Joey, she's like, I'm sorry for what's about to happen to you. And
Yeah,
like,
it's a
I was like,
great
if they just cut
delivery,
the trailer
very
there, or
Like, you know
like did something
something's
else
up.
there,
Right.
you'd know, like, oh, what?
Something's about to happen. to her.
But you don't know if she's a vampire.
somewhere in the middle though. Like, I am okay with knowing that it's a little girl vampire. The trailer goes farther though, and basically shows you things that she can do because vampires are so fucking nebulous. There's rules for every
Yeah, you can do
different
whatever.
kind.
Yeah.
But the movie the trailer spoils a couple of like the fun surprises as to what kind of vampire, and then also shows some fates of some of the characters in the trailer.
Yeah.
So it's like that I could do. I'm okay with revealing the premise. Like one of the examples you always give is Invisible Man. I'm okay with revealing the premise, but that's as far as you should go.
Yeah.
Not show you all the things that they end up doing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Invisible Man, cool. He's invisible, but we don't know that it's real or not. But don't show me all the cool things he does to gaslight her
Yeah.
in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like that's part of the.
Do you know this trailer? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Invisible Man.
Yeah.
No, but I was thinking about when you said we don't know if it's real or not, that I think it's SCTV sketch where Dave Thomas is playing a man who has created an invisibility serum. He invites all of his friends over and he drinks it and he's like, now I will be, and he takes all of his clothes off and he's just nude.
He's not
and they
invisible.
all can see him.
That's a classic. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking of.
If anyone knows Dave Thomas or SCTV at all that's listening right now, just go ahead and like type in me, because I get those references. But I doubt Dylan does.
Oh, I don't
Or
know that
Alice.
You don't either.
I don't know that one either.
Yeah.
I'll look that up.
SCTV.
And so in the chat, Chris says, as the dad of an Abigail, I see this as a cautionary tale. Dane says, after seeing Abigail, I will never see the Matilda musical on Netflix the same way again.
I haven't seen it yet, and I want to watch it. Now I feel like it's gonna be weird.
You're waiting for it to see if
The
she's just
Matilda?
pretending to be a regular
Yeah.
normal girl.
She has fangs in the
This
Matilda
was
movie.
absolutely. I would suggest seeing this movie in theaters. It was really
100%.
fun.
It was
Bit of fun.
It was really
blood.
fun.
Oh, I have a question about sort of about would I like it or not. What is the experience of pain when it's meted out, right? Like, is it like and then they're off, or is it like you see the? Because that's another.
There's no
thing that I don't
torture.
like.
It's,
Okay,
there's,
right.
all the extreme violence happens in a flash in this movie. There's no prolonged torture. There's
right.
no
Okay.
the cruelty is basically this vampire wanting to play with her food,
I got you.
Yeah.
but she doesn't like slowly tear them apart
Okay,
or
cool.
anything.
It's more-
It's
It's more
all
psychological.
it's all
Yeah.
it's
All right.
aggressive and fast, and it's so over the top at times. It is comedic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
When JD was looking up the movies, looking at it on IMDb for some of this information, there are so many movies named Abigail. When you type in Abigail,
there's a lot of them.
There's like 5 to
Really?
10
I
other
didn't know that.
Abigails. Yeah.
Oh, the director refers to the film as Ready or Not on steroids.
I think
I don't.
Ready or Not.
I disagree. Ready or Not
disagree.
is way worse.
Yeah.
Shitty being on
I
steroids is
thought-
not good. Unless you need it medically. But for like muscle building, yeah, the way he means it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, this was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the panel agrees. We have a quorum.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me agree.
I abstain.
Should we move on to
I think
the
we have to move
greatest
on-
film of all time?
I think the
To
greatest
The
film
Scargiver.
I've ever. I'm trying to think of the most.
You saw it
backhanded
before you
compliment.
saw The Pope's Exorcist, and at that time it was the greatest film you had ever
Yeah.
seen? Okay.
Yeah, I was being facetious before. Now I'm just straight up lying. This is
So,
the best movie
Rebel
I've ever
Moon Part 2, The Scargiver.
Give it some life. Give it some
Hey,
life.
yeah. Directed by Zack Snyder, starring Sophia Boutella, Ed Skrein, Stasner, Anthony Hopkins, and Jimon Hansu. When a colony on the edge of the galaxy finds itself threatened by the armies of the tyrannical regent Basarius, they dispatch a young woman with a mysterious past to seek out warriors from neighboring planets to help them take a stand. Ho! Woo! Fuck this
Very
movie.
similar
Hold
to
on.
A Bug's Life.
Fucking
Hang on. Let's not.
damn it.
We should have. Let's
We talking
approach.
JD didn't even see the whole thing.
Let's approach this.
I only saw the first 10 minutes.
You only saw the first,
and I never saw the first
some
one.
towards the last.
Brian and I
Yes.
sat through it,
I saw
the
whole
entirety.
thing. I watched the whole thing.
Can you, for the purposes of this conversation, can
Mm-hmm.
you recap your thoughts on Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire?
I thought it was pretty cool,
Oh.
and I was like, that was pretty cool. I'll watch. I'm
watch
interested to
part two.
see. Yeah, I'm interested to see how they handle the kind of plot threads that they left about the emperor and that princess and that robot. I was like, that's pretty cool stuff that could happen. And then I watched this movie.
Well, hold on.
yeah,
okay.
but that's where we leave it for
Yeah.
now. Similar to this movie.
What recap your thoughts on Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire?
Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, Edgelord, Edgelord, Star Wars. Boring. Why is that in slow motion? The end. There's another one. Great.
That's in order, and it was Star Wars originally.
Yeah,
we
I
should
know.
right. Like I know you know.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I think that's over. I think that's exaggerated. Like the story keeps changing. Like it was originally
really?
a Star Wars pitch, and I don't know if Star Wars didn't want it or if he was like, nah, I'm gonna do this myself. Like the story
okay.
changes like 4 times.
Okay.
It's a derivative idea. Is
Very-
basically all you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
you have no experience with either of these films.
I love Star Wars though, so
yeah.
I mean,
Well, then you'll like something that's about the things that this movie is about.
I'm trying when I. Okay.
and I have 10 minutes experience with the second of these movies.
Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. I don't want to be overly reductive because I got really bent out of shape about it last time. So I think it is a poorly constructed Act 1 stretched out for 2 hours and 15 minutes.
That's like my least favorite thing.
It doesn't tell a story. It's reading a Wikipedia page of plot
and then
points.
this happened.
I almost did that. I
read
almost just read the Wikipedia pages for
It
both
would.
of
It
these
probably
movies.
would have
Been in
been. It
regular
would have been a
speed.
more efficient experience to find out
should've.
details about this movie.
Yeah.
I think the movie looked ugly. I'm talking about the first one.
first
I think the movie looked
Child of Fire.
ugly.
Yes.
I think the slow motion was a detriment. Not because I'm like tired of it. It's because every action scene was in slow motion. I got time to see how poorly it was choreographed.
It also doesn't have the majesty of some like Zack Snyder has some really good things about his films, right? And some of the early ones or those slow motion action scenes were very, very cool. And they looked and felt different.
They were
You know?
employed
Yeah.
Sparingly.
sparingly.
Yeah.
Effectively?
The whole point of speeding something up or slowing it down is to draw the eye, to create emotion.
Right.
It's like music. What have we talked about this before? The sound is great. Turn it up when you want to hear it. If it's always up, it's just fucking noise. So like any kind of like emotional impact or journey that you're taking the viewer through by slowing it down or starting it up, if it's always slow, it's just nothing is special. It doesn't matter.
It's just like the way that time passes in that movie is like sometimes regular, sometimes less.
And that it's so irrelevant. It's terrible.
This is Child of Fire.
Child of Fire.
Yes.
I didn't like it at all.
No.
He
And
loved
now,
the second one though.
the second one, favorite of his movies.
I think if I hadn't watched the first one, I'd like this movie more.
Because they accomplish a lot of the same
I'm gonna
things.
actually try to watch it without having seen the first one.
Okay.
And see.
Well, you're about to
and
hear
see if he's
all
right.
Because
It's fine.
the it starts with it's so weird. Like I think that this is a better movie, but because of the first one, it sucks. Does that make sense? Like this is if this was just as it was without like the 2.5 hours of setup that didn't lead anywhere.
One or the other of these movies would
No.
be better if the other one was gone. like
No, because the first one wouldn't have been a whole movie. The first one still is not a whole movie.
Just set up.
That's true. That's a good
just
point.
not an
we're
actual
getting
movie.
our team together.
This is
If
this
you
is,
ended it a little earlier, you could be like, that came to an end.
but not
you know?
but not really. All they did was have a fight, but none of the actual like plot that was introduced
accomplished.
was
That they led one to believe would be accomplished in
At
the
all.
second half, which is
which didn't even
not a
happen.
half, it's a
Okay, so
16th or whatever.
So I think that if you skip part 1, part 2 is just a passive, trashy action movie.
okay.
But because of the legwork of part 1,
Yeah.
this is more frustrating, and it's not.
Yeah, you don't need
good.
part one at all.
Yeah, because Anthony Hopkins does a speed round voiceover
does.
of
That was
all
Anthony
of the
Hopkins?
yeah
He's the Nazi
When they did the
3PO.
opening crawl in vocal form?
yeah
Yeah.
of all the words that are made up.
It's
Yeah.
so funny. It's so funny because a lot
Yeah,
of movies
I was
start with
real lost
narration.
during that voice. I watched that part.
It's
And I was like,
might
what
as well
is
be
he
fucking
saying?
Gobbledygook. Like,
So we had it playing while we were making making fried tofu last night.
Is that right?
Oh, I was making
wonderful.
falafel when I tried to watch it.
Yeah, and so we had it on, and then both of us are like kind of listening to the over what's the
Narration?
narration,
Voiceover? Yeah.
and it was just a bunch of words that don't exist, and so
I
me
thought
and
it was
Sushan
just
were
me.
both laughing, like, okay, Yeah.
I was like, oh, I haven't seen the first one. I'm not going to get
went
this.
the Scroodle Doops and then did the Fiddle Diddle.
I'm gonna try and find.
I love that part of the
I
movie.
want to
Largopus?
actually see like somebody if anybody can point me in the direction of like it written out somewhere. I would like to
That'd be
read it
very
because
funny.
it's so
that would
fucking
be fun.
stupid.
Yeah.
Like it's the Regent Belisarius of Korra of the planet Velt
Yeah.
with grain of
doing
Gunnar, and then it's like the whole first movie is putting the team together, but the team doesn't share a single scene with each other. They don't get to know each other. You don't even get backstories.
Well, in the first one.
In the first one. The
Right,
first
right.
one is literally it's I listened to the Slash Films review of this, and Jeff Kanata, who's a big D&D player, basically says like the whole first movie is reading people's character sheets.
Oh my
God. It's
Yeah.
true.
And going to meet them is like, now that we have assembled 3 people, we will assemble the 4th person into our assembly.
Who's on that? He's
Yeah.
on. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Okay, cool. On the far edges of the Motherworld's reach, circling the gas giant Mara, was the small moon of Velt. There, a village of humble farmers lived a simple life, born of the earth. The shadow of the warship fell upon the fields. Come
on.
The ship's commander, Admiral Noble. This is the first movie.
oh.
Demanded that. Oh wait, no, it's not. Sorry. Demanded that more that Velt's people could give. So it was that a woman named Korra and a man named Gunnar set forth from the village to gather warriors to stand against the dreadnought. On Niwodi,
They were joined by the mighty Tarak in the mines of Dagus, the fierce nemesis, in the Colosseum of Palais.
Coliseum. That's a real
Colosseum
word.
of Palais. Wait, is wayward a real word? No.
Yeah.
The wayward General Titus, and on the planet Sharon, Darian Bloodaxe and his
Sharon?
Lieutenant Milius.
in an ambush on the
Planet named Sharon?
in an ambush on the
ran out of
floating
planet
docks
names.
of Gondoval, Korra triumphed over Admiral Noble.
No.
Leaving his shattered body on the rocky coastline, the victorious warriors returned to Velt to collect their pay, the threat of a dreadnought extinguished.
Or
so they
believed.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay, so I watched the whole first movie intently.
Yeah.
I did not tune out.
not
I
blink.
watched it.
Yes.
This is the first time I've heard or read any of those characters' names.
Yeah.
Well, Belisarius, of course.
No, I'm talking about
Which is-
I'm talking about the party.
Oh, all the party?
Yeah.
They don't
First
know.
time I've seen their fucking
Yeah,
names,
yeah, yeah.
right? So even after paying attention, I'm listening to this opening crawl and I'm like, I don't know who that one is or that
Right.
one is. Is Gunnar the one that betrayed them, or is he the,
Yeah, he's the good
guy?
one.
Is the
Yeah,
good?
yeah,
Yeah.
Is he the guy who was in Haunting of Hill House on Netflix?
Yes.
He is,
Nice.
He's cool. I like
And
it.
it's
Yeah.
Gunnar.
Yeah. It's
As,
Gunnar.
as Anthony
Who's
Hopkins pronounces it. Okay, so
Interesting.
the second
I
movie,
didn't mind
I think,
that at all, though.
I
I
think
was
the
like,
second movie is
I'm
better
used to
than
that
the
kind of thing.
first, but because of the first,
Yeah.
it's not good at all.
Yeah. Well, I feel personally that, well, one, Belisarius is the name of the production studio that did many shows, including Quantum Leap in the 90s. And it was so memorable, Donald P. Belisario, and their thing was like carved into stone, Belisarius, right? So the whole time, that's
thing
my
about-
association,
yeah, yeah.
right?
That's really
And but he doesn't do anything relating to that, so I'm already pissed. And
It has nothing to do with Quantum Leap.
nothing at all.
Yeah.
And I really feel like everything accomplished in this movie was the accomplishments of the first movie. They're like, we got to save this town. We got to save the town again from the same thing.
Are we doing spoilers, or who cares?
I mean, that was pretty early in the.
Well,
movie.
we gave. Wait, does anyone recommend this movie? I don't.
No.
No, I
do.
like that we have different feelings about Zack Snyder.
It's my
And
favorite.
yeah, I'm sure Alice has a few kind words to say about her 10 minutes, but give them a timestamp so they can just watch that.
I mean, all she did was watch the opening crawl 10 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I, like kept rewinding, like, what'd they say?
Good
Is
Google.
wayward a word?
I could have recited it by heart.
Coliseum? What?
So spoilers.
Here we
starting
go.
Now,
Yeah,
I
spoilers.
guess.
It doesn't
So-
matter. Whatever.
We need to harvest some wheat. And this is a big spoiler for the movie because it takes 10 minutes for them. They got to bring the wheat in because the people, the Empire needs the wheat,
wheat.
from them.
No.
Because
Just like
they
in A
need it.
Bug's Life.
Do you know that their weapon is the wheat?
Their weapon
is
the
the grain.
townspeople. It's what they have over them.
Yes.
Right.
Hold on.
Yes.
Let's break this the fuck down.
Break it down.
All right.
Gonna get real
So
with you
excited
guys.
for this.
5 days.
Yes.
Hey, hold on. Wait, hang on. Hold on. Okay. 5 days.
Yes.
5.
they're going to be back in 5 days. They're going to kill us all. We have to like fight them. But you know what? Let's do the grain anyway. Hold on.
Well,
How long does it take you to do all the grain? Half a cycle.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's 6 months.
It could
3
be
months,
anywhere
4
between
months.
2 weeks to 6 months, but it's not 3 days.
It's not 3 days.
Right.
So we got to do all that.
Yeah.
We got 3 days to do it.
Not gonna
and
happen.
then
Not
we
happening.
have 2 days to teach you how to be fighters. And you know what, though? In those 2 days, I think we're also going to build a system of fucking tunnels and trenches
Yeah.
that we all hide under and like caverns. And like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
There's maybe 50 people there. 50.
Yes. And some of them are women and children who they weirdly say are in like a separate place.
And
a lot of women are fighting too. So why do they say that?
Also too. Okay, that's a lot of work to do.
There's a lot. Bringing in the
grain,
harvest. Yes.
learning how to fight,
Yes.
digging trenches, setting up mines, traps,
Sure.
all of it.
Yeah.
Also, though, we've had time to sew 5 to
Banners
6
for
banners
each of
for
the
each person.
characters.
That's right.
Every person has branding and banners.
Yeah.
And we had time to do that.
And you
though.
are the heart, and you're the mountain,
Yeah.
and that's why I stitched you a
Meanwhile-
mountain.
You know,
I
a
don't think
couple
these-
more guys could be alive if not for these banners.
I don't think. I don't think any.
Nice stitching though.
Well, how the fuck? Like, as an omniscient audience,
Yeah.
I don't even know that about that fucking character.
Yeah.
Yet you do, and you had enough time to
kinda-
quilt a fucking banner.
I kind of feel like she already had the banners. She had them, and she was like, "You're like this heart one because
look, it's a mountain. You're
Yeah.
real strong.
yeah,
here."
I knew it when I saw you were a
Whoa.
storm or some shit.
It was like the timeline of this movie was blowing me away.
Yeah.
a lot happened in the slow-mo
And again, I
parts.
kept thinking like. A lot of it happened in slow motion. It was slow motion for me, but it took a long
It took
time.
them.
It's like
yeah.
the-
It was like the Flash.
Yeah.
They just didn't come up.
And
It'll be in the
also, too,
third
like,
movie.
If you say something like it takes a half a cycle,
Yeah.
but then you still use days as a metric, like just
Even in the
fucking-
opening crawl, the Earth. I mean, maybe they're from Earth, and that just means any kind of ground now. I don't know. They didn't get it.
And it's just like the whole timeline of the movie. I kept because the movie was so kind of boring and stupid. I just kept thinking like, how long do you think it would take to do that?
Yeah.
How long do you think it would take to do that?
Well, and
like they set up some
speaking-
really good traps. How long would it take to do that? Like fucking
The
A.
traps were pretty cool.
they were pretty cool
though.
traps.
sure.
It involved
Yeah.
killing themselves also sometimes. But the harvest, what I cannot emphasize enough, that it was like in this space opera action sci-fi movie, detailed
Yeah.
harvest scenes of each step when you throw up the little pieces and get it off of the other parts of the wheat, and then
Sifting.
you sift it
And then
you
grinding
bind
it.
it and
Yeah.
you
Wow, like,
sheaf
it was-
it,
Yeah.
and then they put it in bags and just like sit it
Hey,
around.
you know-
They're like, well, they wouldn't touch if we're in here. They wouldn't come in.
you're
It's like
saying-
they'll just shoot around it.
You're saying that it was irrelevant to have slow motion scene
Oh, it
of
was
the
slow
grain,
motion of the harvest too.
It was
but
my
what about
favorite
twice?
part.
Of the what part?
Why not twice though?
Yes.
Right, because they go and they show you what's happening with Nazi guy, right? The fact that he's like in his cocoon and coming out, and then
Yes.
they go back to
I saw
Right.
that.
we're doing more wheat.
Oh, there's more than one cut up back
Yeah,
to
yeah.
it.
Also,
yeah.
Also, brought back to life.
Yeah.
Nazi
Yes.
Nazi boy brought back to
Which
life.
was like, you knew that at the end of the first movie.
Cool.
Up, down, but
Nothing is different about
no,
it.
he's just got a scar
so-
now.
Oh, he
So
could be
from-
mentally unstable.
He was
But
already
he's
pretty.
not. Like,
That's what I'm
there's
saying.
no
They warn
consequences
us.
for it.
Oh, right.
Like he might not be right. We have to double check.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's like, get this thing out of my head. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, we can't actually tell because he was
but you're
already
fine.
kind of a
Good.
jerk.
So if this was all one movie, which it's not, but if this was all one movie, middle of the movie, antagonists and protagonists come to heads, something happens, one of them wins, and then it sets up whatever's going to happen next. If in those instances, if the protagonist wins and the antagonist comes back, they come back with an advantage, so it's not the same conflict again.
Or they're like way crazier or something. You know, like
Nothing is different about him coming back. So when they fight at the end again, there are no fucking stakes.
So-
because we've already seen her beat the exact same person.
And
the
this time
exact
she had
same
another
way,
guy with her.
the same fucking tools.
Yeah.
Like,
You know what it is? It's a
doesn't make
video
any
game
sense.
where you fight the bad guy and then his life goes down, but then he hops away.
Yeah.
So that you have to fight other guys, and then he just comes back with full life again.
He's such a bad
So
guy.
the thing about these two movies, and I think kind of Zack Snyder in general at this point, or at least with things like Sucker Punch, is it occurred to me. remember Image Comics when they started in the 90s? It was
I remember
a big
them.
deal. So for anyone who doesn't know, in comic books, a bunch of talented artists who did not think that they were getting what talented artists should make of their caliber went and left Marvel and DC Comics, and they formed their own group called Image Comics, which is still going to this day. But the vibes of today's Image Comics are not the vibes of yesteryears.
Yeah.
So, and it didn't even occur to me until years later that Image Comics is a perfect name for a group of artists who had little to no writing experience,
Sure.
starting their own comic companies, and then making visuals kind of the selling point with a backseat to story and writing.
Never cared for
And this feels like Image Comics did in the 90s, where I'm looking at it, and even though it's color-coded brown and gray, it's at least he's trying to make compelling visuals,
Oh, yeah.
but the writing is not there. And that's what sort of frustrates me the most, is because you can see that the money is there. The money is on the screen.
I feel it looked Netflixy to me.
Did you think so?
I did.
I thought it looked pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it,
Okay.
it looked so good that I was like, why does the writing not match
What
what
do you
I'm
mean by
seeing?
it looks Netflixy?
It's a little nebulous,
CGI?
but no, a little less, a little
Okay.
cheap, and not everything on Netflix. Like some things on Netflix look
Yeah.
amazing, right? So it's somewhat unfair, but it's like video. TV,
Okay.
well, or like film
'Cause
shot
I-
on video as opposed to film.
The first
kinda,
10 minutes
know?
I watched, I kind of I couldn't put a word to it,
Yeah.
but maybe that's what I was thinking.
It looks so the movie looks really, really clean,
a little too clean.
but the aesthetic is supposed to be gritty.
Yeah,
And there's just like
yeah. Where's the dirt? from the
Neither.
wheat? Why
Where's the dirt
didn't we
from
see
the
them washing it off?
so. You're being coy, or not coy.
No, but I do agree with you. I was
like,
just
there's-
yeah.
There's it's just it's like the facsimile of dirty, as opposed to it being a lived-in.
Nothing looks real in this movie.
Aesthetic.
The ships don't look.
When I
yeah.
said it looks ugly, that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
it's an ugly. They're ugly movies. The first one, I think it was that floating island planet that they
where
go to.
Belisarius is with his cane.
after before the one before that, where the Blood Axe clan. That was the
Which one are they?
ugly
The one that come
aesthetic.
by at the last minute here after
The
they're
fucking
needed.
squid face.
Oh, the squid face guy.
Like,
Yeah,
that
They
was-
were cool though. They were nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole
I
alien
miss the
race that you saw for
squid
one
face
scene, and
guy. Yeah.
it did not matter whatsoever.
They were killed, but they were one of the coolest parts.
But it
Aw,
all
that's like-
all looks like like everything
Mm-hmm.
looked like green screen and like one little set, green screen, one little set, and like this is supposed to be a big old universe.
Mm.
Like when they go to the Coliseum planet,
Coliseum?
the Coliseum planet.
Elysium. Yeah.
You like it's a establishing shot of just CGI Coliseum, and then like tiny set with a lot of people, like a fake looking
Mm-hmm.
little set. Like it's not a. They aren't pretty movies because
the guy looks like that too. Belisarius looks like fake.
terrible
You know?
makeup. Like
Yeah.
like they're all
that,
aged up, ugly makeup. No,
Oh.
Carrie Elways. No.
I'm thinking of Carrie Elwes.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no, is he in this?
Yeah,
he was
he's
the king.
for a scene.
Remember
That was
when the
Carrie
king
Elwes?
when the king gets stabbed a whole bunch, and for some reason there's an entire orchestra playing the whole time.
Trying their hardest to keep the theme of the murder with the song, because they do hit the beats.
Yeah.
When they kill someone, they accent it.
Why?
You can't even see because they're wearing hoods. These people are.
This is
Brilliant.
it's a very stupid movie.
Yeah.
They're both very stupid movies, and I don't think there should be
it's
more.
not even stupid good. It's not even like
Well,
this
there's no-
is so bad and silly and fun that like I've got a
Well, it's not
smile on.
intentional.
and I'm
no
eating
fun.
my
It's
not
popcorn.
intentionally done.
I'm just frustrated.
Did you
There's
have
no
popcorn?
fun.
I didn't even have popcorn.
See, that's
Also,
part of it.
also too, the way that this movie ends is just a setup for another one.
Another.
Which I was like, partway through, I'm like, so I was interested in how did that robot get those antlers, a nature robot thing? What's the deal with the princess? Because even in the first one, you're like, she's probably, something more is going on with her, right? And, some stuff about all of that. And we didn't get any of that. Partway through this movie, more than partway, not enough time to do that. I'm like, what's happening? Are there more of these? There are 4 more he wants to do.
There are people online that are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you can't judge one or the other. It's one movie in 2 parts."
It's
It's
not that.
this story is so brain-numbingly simple
Right.
that if it requires 4.5 hours for you to tell this story, you're shit at your job.
Well,
So
this
many-
is supposed to be
yeah.
You're
the
shit at your job.
prequels of Star Wars, kind of, where this is like
setup.
he feels like this is a full story, and then you're so interested that you're like, what happens with
The
this
prequels,
other
though,
stuff?
which we'll talk about next week for the 25th anniversary of Episode 1, the prequels, though, are fucking masterpieces compared to this because even within
Oh, yeah. No, I'm
even
not.
within each film, they have narrative threads that are closed and then a larger movie structure that is narratively
I
closed.
hate that that's
this
probably
is
true.
shit.
Yeah,
I
this,
hate
well,
this
this one
doesn't
is just
close
like,
anything.
oh, we're not telling. We made it out like there were 2 movies, and we are not going to tell you the full story. We're not going to talk about what Brian you find the most interesting. They said to me,
Yeah.
we're going to hold that till later.
Right
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. That must have been weird for you guys when you were watching it, but
Yeah.
it really hit home.
It's right when I tapped
And-
out. I was like, oh.
Oh yeah, well,
Honestly,
it's
not
probably
for
best.
me.
It's in the first 10 minutes. They're like, hey.
Not mine. Yeah.
But you can watch it; it's fine. And yeah, it was like you tricked me into thinking you had 2 movies, and you've got
But all,
Can I
all
say
he
some-
does
I wanna
is
say-
kick the can down the road.
I want to say
Yeah.
2 nice things.
okay. There was some
The-
cool things.
The blaster fire
Cool.
was I've never seen blaster fire like that. Laser. It's like God
If it
out
was
of a volcano.
if it was
lava magma.
Yeah.
if it was consistent, it would be
Yeah.
cooler.
But
Yeah.
you know what else I wanted from those magma cannons? You constantly see it hits something and then splays out.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of wanted someone to get hit by the splash
Oh, that would have been cool.
and get burned just from the
splashing.
ricochet
Yeah.
of that. I thought those were
And
really
seeing the
cool.
move too was cool. Like they're not just instantly there.
So
Yeah.
that was kind of my problem,
Oh,
like the
yeah,
physics
okay.
of it. So like that's like they are all combustion guns. Like they're laser guns, but it's like combustion, like an actual like rifle or a gun. Like it's got a pop. Sometimes it's a long laser that moves in slow motion.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a flare. Sometimes it's lava. If there is a distinction between the two,
Right.
you've not set up shit
Right.
about how
Have, like, a
things
lava
function
setting
in this world.
on their
And I don't need like schematics.
Sure.
Just set things up
Hint at the
so
rules.
we understand them.
Yeah.
I should not have to read a book to understand your story.
Right.
I should not have to like.
Wait until the 4th movie was about the history of the guns.
We have not even talked about the fact that everyone, like all the main characters, just have a scene where they sit at a fucking table and give their backstories.
Right.
Yep.
Except the one whose backstory you already know. And I was really like, is she going to say it again? Don't say it again.
She should have. And we get
Yeah.
more slow motion.
The other nice thing I wanted to say was Nemesis.
Nemesis was.
Nemesis was cool. She was the lady with the gauntlets.
She was cool. And those swords, lightsaber-ish they are,
she
but
had
the sword fights were pretty cool.
Yeah.
She had a cool
Yeah.
backstory, but she
But,
was
like,
fucking wasted. in
She
this
had
movie.
Yes,
two
yes.
gauntlets that were filled with like her ancestors, right?
I think
They-
they were just owned by her.
the-
were they filled with her ancestors?
Yeah, it's the hate and bloodlust of her ancestors was
Like
in the
those
gauntlet.
gauntlets.
Oh, all right.
So it's
And then
I'm
just to
interested
see
in
her
that
sort
thing.
of taken out by nobody, I was like, oh,
I wonder if that little boy will take the gauntlets.
cut off his own arms.
He could grow up. It
I would
could be
love
like
to see
10
that
years
kid cut
later.
off his own arms and just take the gauntlets
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah. And then just do
but
like
he's a
regular
kid,
stuff.
so like the gauntlets are giant
They're a
on him.
little bigger,
Yeah,
yeah.
And he
It's
just
like those little
plays.
kids that would
like-
get those like Hulk hands.
yeah, yeah.
I was thinking it was like two Hellboy arms. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Dane says, no, wait, yes, Dane says, Noel, FYI, the mystery movie this past
Yeah.
Monday was Boy Kills World, which was ridiculously gory and puts Abigail to shame.
I ended up not going, but I'm gonna try and see it this weekend when it comes out.
Yeah, I would really like to see that. I just watched the trailer for it. Christopher Goodnight says, Alice Wetterland will gladly tell you that most of the people on Silicon Valley were pieces of shit.
Oh, that's
Oh, she's one of the actresses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except Kumail. Great guy.
And
Nice.
Chris says, could
And
Nick
maybe
Cage,
accept other people. We don't know. for
could
sure.
Nick Cage have saved Rebel Moon at all?
Maybe. Would he do all the parts and they would CGI him around?
You know what? I
Let's go to that
think-
planet.
I think Nick Cage would have been cool in it, but I don't think he could have saved it because I think the problems with these movies is just like a systemic problem about just economic storytelling that doesn't exist. Emotional journeys that are vapid. Like it is just not a good story told well.
Yeah, and
It's
the
just
whole
not.
like the one guy was a prince and his story, and like now we're gonna hear that when they're sitting around the table, and like that came out of nowhere, which is fine, but the sitting around the table scene was
Wildly irrelevant. Like his whole backstory was wildly irrelevant. Like
I think
Also-
all of them were. I was
and,
waiting
well,
because
in
we
the-
had
in the later movies.
because we had
There's
specific backgrounds. Like the one guy had a connection with animals. I was like, okay, he's gonna have.
Oh, I forgot
He's gonna
about
use
that.
a connection
It
to
doesn't come
animals
up.
to turn the tide.
Well,
or something.
there's no
Like, it seemed
animals
like-
in the second one.
Yeah, it's well, well, there's
He's
the
just
horses,
wasted.
right?
it's
I
horses.
kept waiting for each of them to have a scene that sort of showcased their specific abilities and why they needed them
Oh,
in
and
this
because
fight.
she's got the arms and the swords, and he's got
and
the
it was
animal
just
connection.
a bunch of shooting and stabbing.
There was one backstory that kind of made sense narratively, and that was General Titus's.
Yeah.
About he decided to give himself up to save his men, but they killed his men anyway.
Oh,
That was the coolest
brutal. That
backstory.
was brutal.
Yeah.
But then, like 2 scenes later, they give that offer to Cora, who was sitting there listening to it,
Right.
and
right.
she was like,
You're
I'll do this. I'll save you guys." Like,
Yeah.
are you fucking stupid?
And
Yeah.
the guy too, Gunnar, is like Gunnar.
Gunnar.
Is
Gunnar.
like they're lying.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like,
Like,
"They're-
yeah.
you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Their whole thing, they don't care so much about you. I mean, they do now. They came here for the wheat, and
She was
they'll
too
get
busy.
the wheat if
she
they
was too
kill
busy,
you.
cutting her hair for no reason.
I was like, I had
do
to
you-
back up. I'm like,
how
when
do
did
you-
she cut her hair?
How do you get that good of a fade up?
Well, she was highly trained.
How do you get that good of a fade up
Highly
with no
trained.
one helping you?
Also, they call when Titus. He, for some reason, has been pretending to be drinking alcohol, like he has, because he's like kind of an alcoholic.
Well, there was that slow motion scene where he dumps out
Right.
the alcohol and then puts it in the water.
Well,
We know.
we know this, and
Uh-huh.
it was the first and foremost in my mind. And so he was drinking this, and the guy's like, well, first of all, why is he doing it? Why is he pretending this? And secondly, the guy's like, the animal controlling guy, oh, it's spring water. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just call it water? Is there any other kind of water where you are? Is it just,
you have
oh,
taps?
this is river water? There's, right? You have some technology,
It's
but
true. There's the
Also, how do
level
you know
of
it's-
detail is irrelevant.
Spring water.
right, it's from a well, too. We see him get it from the well.
So he's wrong.
Well water. He knows about animals and being a prince. He doesn't
That's
know
all
anything
he
else.
knows.
Also, apparently, you're not a man until your father dies.
Yeah, that's a weird sentiment.
What?
They
Yeah,
say
wait.
that in the middle, Alice. The queen is like, no man or no prince truly becomes a man until his
Their
father
father
dies.
dies.
Because I guess that's when he's king. You know, not everyone has to do that. We could just do our own thing.
It's not good.
Also, I cackled when I guess someone was being murdered. Wait,
You
someone
love that
wanted-
stuff.
Someone wanted. I do love murder.
Cackled at the murder?
Yeah.
And I just
It was somebody outside of his window.
someone's like weird accent was kill him.
I don't remember
It was
that.
awful. I'm trying to remember what scene it was, but
These movies. There's apparently more planned, but something
a betrayal.
something incensed me in some of the interviews about it, where Zack Snyder was like, "We have a trilogy planned, but I don't know if the fans would expect that to be 4 more movies or 2
Why
more
would anyone
movies."
who knows what the word trilogy means expect it to be that?
Because this is 2 movies in 1 movie.
that's true.
And the other ones will each be individual movies, or one of them will be.
That's what he was
is this
saying.
a riddle?
So that's exactly what he was trying to say. He was like, I don't know if my
riddles
fans
for
would accept it just being one sequel. When now that it's been established that it's 2 movies to take up 1 story.
You can just call any amount of things any amount of things.
The point I'm trying to make is
Yeah.
this is wildly fucking irrelevant.
Yes.
And it has nothing it's like he's reverse engineering expectations and or how to make it
Oh, like
before
hyping
the
it up.
story's even created.
Right,
like the story should dictate
How many
much
movies
time-
do they want?
I know
Yeah.
my fans.
And then I'll
story-
just
And they
stretch
will
shit
not
out.
sit
and-
the
until-
story should dictate what happens
Yeah.
next and what format it is, not, well, it's going to have to be 4 movies because it's part 1 and part 2, and then director's cuts of part 1 and part 2
I
that
was
have
kind of
completely
interested
different
in the director's
scenes.
cut of the first one, and I am not. Gonna lie.
Also, too, apparently it's all different takes. Also,
That's what I remember when we talked about the first one. The way you described that, I was like, I kind of want to see that instead of this one, but I'm not going to watch it.
it's not just
after
like
having seen it.
more
Right.
footage. Apparently, like even the footage
Right.
that they're going to do different takes, so it's like an alternate version.
Like that other version of Anchorman, The Legend of Roddenberry,
I-
which is funny. It's cool that they
But
did that.
the thing about it too is like you call that a director's cut. Like director's cut are you wrestle back
Right.
the footage
Nobody
to create
told you
something
you
else.
couldn't do that.
Not like I'm gonna make 2 versions of the same movie for feelings.
reason?
I think somebody,
Feelings.
we should ask him who cut this one.
Yeah.
Who did this one? It was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Is
it
this
was the
the
guy that I
editor's
know.
version?
Yeah.
He was works at my coffee shop.
If he's got 30 hours worth of story. Make a fucking TV show, my guy.
Sure.
Like, why are these movies?
I also would like to bring up the improbability and like just craziness of the plan when so this is their coup,
Is
right?
this day 3 or 4 or 5?
No. This is in the past when the woman killed. Yeah.
Arthur.
Yes. When she killed the scar, when she became the scar giver. Yes. Even though, I guess she gave Belisarius the scar.
Did she always have the scar giver name and then she gave Belisarius?
Yeah, or he was always on her. Like, you got to give somebody a scar.
Belisarius is Beardy McGee, that was her dad.
In the Lion King.
Is her like adopted dad? Did she scar him?
No, but that's Belisarius.
Yes. But who did he
I don't know
scar?
who Nazi got, what his name is.
Oh, I don't know, but he was like a child.
Who did she scar? I have no idea.
The coup. They're in this place. She is like the just loyal right hand of Belisarius, adopted daughter, trained by him. And she's like, he's like, kill her. And she wrestles with it, but she does it. And then immediately, in front of all these people who just slaughtered everyone, Belisarius screams out like, she did it.
What have you done?
She's the one that did all of this. I'm like, one, why pick her to be the scapegoat when she's your soldier, the main one? And two, why? These are all the people that just killed everybody. Just say that when you leave the room. You're like, I think somebody killed him.
So I
wasn't me, but something crazy
I just
happened.
came in and they were.
I have the answers. Now, first of all, your problems with that scene, that whole sequence, are wildly valid because the movie doesn't actually explain to you or visually tell you what the reason is. She was adopted and was just manufactured as the main scapegoat, and all of those people are in on it.
Oh, she was adopted to be the scapegoat from the start.
She was just adopted as just a child of fire.
Right.
She was a fucking orphan in the war, and he brought her in. Exactly.
Yeah.
And now she's whatever.
Why not just get another scapegoat and then just say that they did it? Like,
she was.
They all
she was
could
like,
lie.
She was not of the bloodline, impure, blah blah blah. So like they just all agreed.
Right.
This asshole. We can frame this asshole that did all this.
It's like, what do you guys keep talking about?
Because she's not around. It's like advantageous, but the movie doesn't really do any work. It's so melodramatic and so improbably stupid that it doesn't actually do any of the emotional lifting that would require you to understand.
And that's kind of an interesting.
Other than you just like yelling, "What did you do?" After we watched the whole scene.
You just told her to do that. You commanded, and then when she hesitated, you said, "You better do this now," and then immediately flipped. And now that is an interesting idea. Much like the robot with the antlers. Like, I would like to see those stories.
Why did the robot put the antlers on his head?
No idea.
I know, right? I would.
So he just
went
shows
off
up after half of the village
He
had
had
been
enough.
murdered.
So I don't
was like,
remember.
this is too much.
I don't remember how
I
Jimmy
feel like
the
you
robot.
guys are kind of making all of this up just to mess with me. 'Cause I haven't seen this movie. I'm like, what?
How did
happening?
Jimmy? How did Jimmy the robot get his name?
No idea.
It's short for James.
Well, no, he's not joking. So I don't know why or how he was Jimmy in the first movie, but when Cora sees him for the first time in like under the water in the ship that she could have flown out of the ravine instead of them pulling it out of the ravine, whatever.
Right, it's fine.
Because it worked.
Right.
She knowingly looks at him and goes, "Hello, James."
Yeah.
They have a relationship that I didn't know about.
I think he was
because
he was one of the
was just
princess-
like came out of a
antlers?
box.
He was one of the princess's guard robots, I believe.
But he came out of a box, as in like
Oh,
maybe
they bunched
one
him
of
up.
those,
Right.
one of the robots,
Like the kinds of robot.
Yeah,
that-
I didn't know
yeah.
that he is like a specific person bot. But
I don't know. Maybe they
but
all
she
have
calls
names.
him James.
So when we are introduced in the beginning of the first film, she's been there for a while hiding out, and then the Jimmy JC1435, he's been there also, right? Is he just-
No.
he's brought
He's
by
turned on at that
the
time.
motherboard. Like he's brought by as just like
Oh, never
He
mind.
was
As a hand.
on before
Sorry,
that.
movie, I tried.
I think he did have an active existence before that when the princess was still around.
those robots were created to protect the king's bloodline.
Right,
Like,
right. And
they're,
now he has
like,
no purpose. And he
Royal
won't
Guard has
fight.
no purpose,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they just like pop them out of the box
Yeah.
to lift their
You know why?
shit
Right,
everywhere.
he carries stuff around.
His model, the JC1435, was one of the several identical androids created to defend the royal family of the Motherworld. They were collectively known as the JCs or Jimmys. So all of them are
They're
Jimmys.
all Jimmy.
So why
Or
do
Sprinkles.
So it's not
So-
short for James.
so
Sprinkles the Jimmy.
what
Depends on what region you're from.
okay, cool. Colloquially known as Jimmy's, they are JC's.
Right. They
Or
didn't say
James.
that.
Why the fuck does she refer to him as James as though they are friends and know each other? Because he is Jimmy,
Yeah.
which is short for the JC blah blah
JC's.
blah. So
She's like really
No,
clever
they're-
and funny,
they're
and she
known-
likes to.
Known more
Go back
simply
around
as
with it.
James or Jimmy.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's the first line.
The idea of the robot who's like
So
ornate and cool looking without the antlers and everything. The idea of the robot in nature and the philosophical robot and like this visual that they gave, like I want to see a story about that.
No, let me-
I love
let me-
that kind
let me
of
tell you
thing.
a tale.
Tell me, is it about this?
It's about
philosophical robot nature guy?
another movie by Zack Snyder,
Okay.
which was the terrible one, the worst one, the worst one.
It's hard to say what you would think.
Army of the Dead,
Oh no,
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch.
Oh, you just said that a couple minutes ago.
and I forgot
That's
it.
why I didn't think it was.
They're so
And I remember seeing the trailer, and there was like a woman with a sword in a schoolgirl outfit leaping in slow motion, which about to attack a giant samurai with
Yes.
a Gatling gun.
yes,
And I said, I'm in.
that was cool.
And then, because I want to know what that is. I want
Emily
to know what that's
Brown,
about.
right? Or
Yeah.
No idea.
yeah.
And I
Brown,
walked
American
out.
Gods also.
I walked out that theater, and I told whoever I was with, I was like, I can't believe they took that scene and made it awful.
Like you weren't into
Like there
it.
was how
Yeah.
did they make a movie that had that in it?
So you want to
Awful.
see that
No.
movie?
Okay.
Something cool, much like I want to see a movie about this nature robot philosophy
It's just
guy.
my point is that he
Yes.
makes a visual, and then that's it.
Well, because it was one of the closing visuals of the last movie, and it was a very cool like closing, like what's going on there?
But-
That far shot guy in the
but it
front. You don't
wasn't-
know. I don't know.
He doesn't know.
But it all happened off screen in every
No,
way,
but I
shape,
thought we
or
were going to
form.
get it in this one.
Yeah.
You know, it was like
You have high expectations. Like
Did.
Army of the Dead had like 3 really good ideas, and they did none of it.
I didn't even
None of
bother
it.
with that. And I love zombie movies.
There's a whole concept. It's Vegas, and the zombies dry out. So there's this whole concept of there is a field of petrified zombies.
Oh.
And they have to like walk through it.
Oh,
And
if
then
you touch 'em or something.
And then some. No, they're
yeah.
they're immobile. They're
Oh.
dried out completely because
Okay.
it's the desert.
Husks.
Someone
Desiccated.
mentions offhandedly, Chekhov's gun style. If they get wet or it rains, they'll all come back to life.
Sure.
So immediately I'm thinking like, oh, that's the third act. That's going to be so
this
fucking
is going to be
cool.
real bad for these guys.
Never happens. Never's mentioned again. The whole city gets exploded.
Wow.
It is such a good idea.
It is.
Sets up a wonderful set piece, and they don't touch it.
Yeah.
He just wanted
Yeah. The threat.
petrified zombies.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, and to answer your question about
What was it?
what happened with Jimmy James,
Yeah.
and
Jimmy James.
how he gets
from
the
News Radio.
antlers.
Man, so nice to name it twice.
The answer is he has a bigger role in the sequel and an expanded character arc in the director's cut. So the answers you're looking
Director's
for,
cut.
you're going to have to watch the director's cut.
Can I?
If I want
we
those
know
answers.
why he has antlers?
Can
We
you-
don't. That's the whole point.
We don't know.
No, we don't know.
I
You got to
wanna know.
find out in the
He's-
director's
he's
cut.
He doesn't
attained-
always have them.
No.
He starts out
Do they grow?
antler
like, in
free.
year?
No,
Like Bambi?
He puts them on, I think, because he's got a clothes. He's a robot who puts stuff on. Robots don't do that all the time, and so it's you know about robots. and
Yeah.
yeah. You don't see him
Classic
walking
robot.
around with accoutrement. So this
Zero-
guy's
With
got
one of
it.
those priest scarves things.
He could.
The armor of God.
He earns
Yeah,
it.
armor of God.
And so no, it's just like a really interesting. Like he goes out and puts that on for some intriguing reason.
He just thought it was
Potentially
neat.
intriguing.
I'm
What's the
intrigued.
runtime of this
It might not be satisfying.
What's the runtime of this movie?
Too long.
Have you ever seen it's in The Simpsons where
Yes. Oh.
Marge is just like, I just think they're neat. I'm
Potatoes.
just like, yeah, potatoes.
Yeah.
I like to think he's. Why do you have the antlers? I just think they're neat.
Yeah. You're like, that's
So-
also really interesting for a robot
Yeah.
to want that, but it's not what I was thinking.
All right.
So this is hang on.
And then they get blasted off, and it's like a shorter.
This is a Rotten Tomatoes score is
really
like
signifies.
15%,
Like Hellboy
which is
when they're
lower
like
than the first one.
Yeah.
The movie is 2 hours and 3 minutes long. There's a YouTuber that clocked all of the slow motion in this movie, and it added up to over 20 minutes. So there are. It's like
Absurd.
what 20 to 25%, 20 to 25% of the entire runtime is in half speed.
And I saw someone on Twitter was complaining about, how everyone hates slow-mo all of a sudden. Like, no, man, we don't hate slow-mo. We just hate useless slow-mo that's there for no reason. It's not there to emphasize anything.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Dylan, you know what the Scavenger's Reign? I know Dylan is a fan of it as well. They do a robot nature thing in a very cool way. And yeah. So
there's an animated series on the Mac.
Oh, beautiful.
Are there director's cuts? How many different
The director's
versions?
cut, I think, was the one that they aired. The director was like, I like
That's
this
my
one,
cut.
and you should do this.
Yeah.
This is the one. This is the one that I want you to see and not arbitrarily create after the fact.
Right. He
clout. I don't know.
wanted
what the fuck this is
to
for.
do it right.
I don't
think
he just likes hashtags, man. I think he just likes the people who
Or
beg
the
beg
hype,
him for more
the
content.
hype and the money.
Yeah.
I think this movie
deceives
got abysmal reviews. Even fans are not fans of it.
Yeah, like I like that.
And,
I like his stuff.
I
like some of it.
he's,
Yeah,
he's precipitously destroying his own legacy.
Yeah.
And I think that the viewing numbers are going down. Also, like, I don't think that they should do more.
You don't think he's getting 4 more movies?
I think they should. I think they
For
should
the
stop.
trilogy.
I really do.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's advantageous for Netflix
Hitchhiker's
anymore.
Guide.
Like they spent almost $200 million on these 2 movies, and I don't know where that money's coming from.
For just a Star Wars 7 Samurai.
But it's not even.
Which is the thing.
So-
Star Wars is that too, but we really like Star Wars.
There's no. There's,
that's the difference.
it's just not done well. There's nothing wrong with all of those tropes and all of those plot lines that we see over and over again. There's no such thing as originality anymore. I hope everybody knows that. Every
You've been
story,
saying that. I've heard
everything you watch and enjoy is derivative of something else other than or that was created 3,000 years ago. Like there's no such thing as originality. That's fine. Do it well. Do it competently. Tell a story. Make me emotionally invested.
You know how easy I am when it comes to like being emotionally manipulated by pop culture. Like I will cry on a dime if you put in just the tiniest bit of effort.
It's a single dime.
Yeah. I was watching it with no emotions at all, other
wasn't a
than
lot to-
frustration.
There wasn't a lot to be emotional about. I mean, when that guy died, I was like, well, that sucks.
Oh, that guy.
Like, he seemed like he was fine, and also it would be cool if he was around.
That was actually the
was
one good emotional beat in the entire
Yeah,
movie where
yeah.
she missed him dying because she was watching, like
I missed that part.
that.
I was watching that other thing, too.
You were also distracted. You fell for it. They got you.
Maybe my phone.
It was like the only effective emotional beat in the entire movie because she is there nursing him, hoping like stay awake, stay awake, stay awake.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
it was the only good emotional beat.
It was. And it was a bit of a trick because he got through a time when if he was going to die, he probably would have died by now, and he didn't die. And it was like, oh, he's just shot, which can sometimes be fine, you know?
It's just the way that he decided to shoot it by cutting away and then coming back and he's already dead instead of this protracted stupidity. It was.
I did like how he shot
It was
that
the only.
thing
It
to
was the
start the
only
fight.
artistic
That shit was
choice
cool.
that actually like tried to manipulate as
Mm.
opposed to like it was. This movie sucks.
Yeah.
All right.
And when
Well,
that team
email
shows
us
up-
at cultpopgo@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought of Rebel Moon 2
Scargiver.
or what is the other movies that we talked about?
Abigail.
Abigail.
Silicon Valley.
And
Pope's Exorcist, Late
Bambi.
Night with the Devil,
Exorcist.
Bambi the Reckoning trailer. If you've
I
watched
also
Winnie the
mentioned
Pooh,
Deadpool
Blood
2.
and Honey,
Yeah.
let us know how.
Let us
If
know
you've
how it
seen
is.
any movie, tell us
about
about it.
That's
Yeah.
right. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk at you later.
Doo-doo-doo.
Done.